Hi everybody, Beatrice here. It's been a while, right? It's been a hot minute since any of us have been on here talking. And this time I decided to do this video solo because lately it's been kind of hard to get me, Ella, and Rita all together to do a video at the same time. As you know, they both live in Sweden. I live here in the United States. There's a 6-hour time difference, plus life gets in the way. You know, I'm busy doing the motherhood thing, and Ella's been busy with like taking pictures and doing her thing, and then Rita's been busy with painting and doing her thing. So figured the best way to do this, at least for this video, because of how important it is for me to just record it solo. So this video is going to be an update on all things Marilyn Manson case. As you know, there's been, or you may not know, but you should know, there's been multiple accusers who have accused Marilyn Manson of DV, SA, things like that. And also, Marilyn Manson has come back with his own lawsuit where he's claiming defamation and other things. And we'll get to that towards the end of the video. So, to recap, Manson has four accusers who filed lawsuits against him in court. And those would be Jane Doe, Smithline, Walters, and Esme Bianco. And all four of those cases, there's been some moving pieces lately. Lots of things going on, talking between the attorneys, things like that, lots of legal paperwork. If you follow us on Instagram on our Truth for Manson page, I've tried to keep you guys pretty much up to date on all things the Marilyn Manson case, all the legal filings. I get them sent to me, I read through everything, and then I put up a synopsis and upload most or all of the documentation for you guys to see. And that's on our Instagram page. If you haven't seen it, it's Truth for Manson. Okay, so this video is just to recap things. I think it might make it easier to just like condense everything into a video as opposed to you going and look at it separate posts, trying to read through, figure out what's what. So this is just a little video to keep you on track as to what's going on. So, which accuser should we talk about first? I think we'll talk about Jane Doe. Jane Doe hasn't had a whole lot of action going on in her case. For the most part, people haven't heard much about her case until recently. And there's been some issues. I'm looking at my notes here. But there's been some issues with protection of privacy, things like that. Jane Doe doesn't want the public to know who she is. Marilyn Manson and his team are aware of who she is, but she doesn't want the public to know who she is. So there's been a lot of going back and forth with that. She has said, and this is a quote from her lawsuit, Manson's diehard fans have a known history of speaking graphically about violence and terrorizing women. Yeah, okay. When in actuality, all we really want is the truth. But, you know, I'm just trying to give the facts here, so there you go. There already is a protective order in place, and Manson claims that he would be unfairly prejudiced if he was not allowed to use her name in documents in third-party discovery efforts. That would make things a little difficult for him, so there has been back and forth going on with Jane Doe and with that case. I don't see a date for anything for that to be resolved. So we'll just keep you updated on that as it goes. We'll try to update here on YouTube, but definitely be sure to check out Instagram. That's where I keep the most up-to-date posts. Like, as soon as I get them sent to me, I read through them, they get posted. So that's pretty much what you're missing about Jane Doe. Not a whole lot. A lot of it over her privacy, about wanting to keep her name quiet, about who she really is. And one other thing that I think is interesting to note here is that she doesn't want her name affiliated with the communications that she has had between her and the other accusers, which is quite interesting because she's always kept herself separate from the other accusers. But here she's saying she's had communications with the other accusers, but she doesn't want anyone to know who she is, give out her name, her details. So that's just one interesting thing to keep in mind. Now, let's talk about Ashley Walters. All right, so Ashley Walters, she filed her own lawsuit. It's been tossed from the court a couple times. She's refiled and fixed some things. It's gotten tossed from the court again. She refiled again. It's been like a back and forth thing. Well, finally, the judge threw out her lawsuit and said that she cannot return to refile. It was tossed by the court. So what's going on with her right now is she has filed an appeal. So far, we've heard nothing, no movements about the appeal. But she has filed an appeal, and we'll see what happens from there, whether or not it gets approved. If her case gets reinstated, that's up in the air. But the most important thing about Ashley Walters is that she ties into everything. Everything. All of these cases, it's like she's a central person, and she's basically trying to run from the law quite a bit, and it's not a good look. So, in Esme Bianco's case, which Ashley Walters is a part of, because she's a third-party witness, Manson has put out a subpoena for her to be deposed. The day before she was due to give the deposition, she backed out of it. And so there's been lots of issues with that, trying to get her to comply to go and do this deposition. Manson also has requested relevant communications from her during production with Evan Rachel Wood, Esme Bianco, and Ashley Illma Gore. Ashley's had a lot of issues with this. She said she only wants to produce communications between her and Esme Bianco, and that it needs to be very much limited in scope, and she hasn't turned over anything. She is very important to this case because, as quoting Marilyn Manson's legal team, Miss Walters is a relevant percipient witness to this case, and she is. And let's look at the reason why she is a relevant percipient witness. And so to do that, I'm going to read directly from Marilyn Manson's lawsuit, which I'll talk more about at the end of this video. Sorry, I don't have a computer. I'm just using my phone. But let's see. So this is why she's so relevant. Upon information and belief, Illma Gore, gained unauthorized access, hacked Warner's email login and passwords, social media login and passwords, and social security number. Among other sources, Gore solicited and obtained information from Ashley Walters. Walters was Warner's former assistant and one of the women recruited by Gore and Wood to make accusations against Warner. As part of her work for Warner, Walters was entrusted with Warner's private information by Warner and his representatives. As is common in the entertainment business and numerous other professions that handle sensitive, potentially high-profile matters, Walters entered into a confidentiality agreement that prohibited her from disclosing such information. Illma Gore, procured from Walters, among other private and protected information, Warner's email and social media logins and passwords, and Warner's social security number, home address, and phone number. Gore procured this information knowing that she would use it to gain access to and use data, a computer system, a computer network, and or computer services. So, yeah, I mean, there you go. Ashley Walters is central to this. According to Manson's lawsuit, she's the reason why Evan and Illma had a list of people to contact in the first place. She gave away all the contact information, and yeah, she did a lot of illegal things, according to Marilyn Manson. And she's literally right smack in the middle of all of this. And she's trying to run from it. She doesn't want to do this deposition because she knows she has a lot of things to answer to. She doesn't want to give over all of this documentation because it's probably very damaging and hurtful to her. So, that's where we are with her. Let's see. She's trying to, she wants to withhold communications on the basis of privacy grounds. Marilyn Manson has said there's no reason to withhold on the basis of privacy grounds because not only did she make a public allegation, she also was in Phoenix Rising. She did public interviews and public photo shoots, pretty much put herself out there in the limelight. So why worry about privacy now? That's what Manson's team is trying to say. Manson has also said, his team has said, that her deposition, should take place without further delay. And she is not privy to deposition topics. There was this thing where she wanted to know what was going to be asked of her so she could prep, things like that. Manson's team is saying she's not privy to that. Okay, so that's Ashley Walters. Oh, and also to update on that, on October 19th, there is a hearing on the sealed documents. I guess there's been sealed documents in this case, in Esme Bianco's case. And don't know what they are or what this involves, but there's a hearing on that. And we will also hear about Ashley Walters with Manson's motion to compel, and also he's asking for sanctions. Basically, he's asking for her to be punished, to have to pay for canceling this deposition last minute, to pay the legal fees, to pay extra fees. So we'll find out what's going to go on with that on October 19th, which is only a couple days away. And we will update on that as we get more information on that. Let's see. All right, so we just covered Jane Doe. We covered Ashley Walters. Esme Bianco, we pretty much touched on because it deals with Ashley Walters and her subpoena. And then the next person I'm going to talk about and her subpoena. And that's really all that's been going on with Esme Bianco's case. It's in a discovery mode, and there's been a lot of documents that have been sealed in her case, but there's not a whole lot of movement to talk about regarding her until I get to the next accuser, which I'm trying to get the light in here. Okay, so Ashley Smithline, Ashley Lindsay Morgan Smithline. Oh, lots to talk about with Ashley Smithline. Okay, so in some Manson legal filings, there have been text messages, more specifically, Instagram communications between her and another person. He goes by the name of Dominic. And in this communications, Ashley Smithline has said things alluding to the fact that this is all a hoax, that she never wanted to cancel anybody, that she was roped into doing this, into being an accuser. She compared their actions to that of the Crucible. Lots of damning things, and it was all in filings by Marilyn Manson. Very shocking things, couldn't think it could get much bigger than that, and then it did. So, according to Marilyn Manson's team, Ashley Smithline had been calling Marilyn Manson's team since, I believe, April or May, saying that her lawyer, J. Ellwanger, who, by the way, also represents Esme Bianco, and supposedly represents Sarah McNeely, but Sarah hasn't come out as an official accuser. She hasn't filed any paperwork, no lawsuit, but apparently he represents her as well. Anyway, so according to her, she fired J. Ellwanger way back in April or May, and he wouldn't take no for an answer. And she had said something about, it's interesting that a Me Too attorney would not listen to the word no. Yeah, so that happened. So what happens after that? Manson's team told Ashley Smithline that they could not communicate with her regarding this until she was no longer represented officially by J. Ellwanger, that they were under the impression that he still represented her. And there was a lot of going back and forth. A lot of times, Ashley Smithline was saying, this isn't my attorney. This isn't my attorney. She sent them text messages between her and Jay, text messages between her and, I guess, a friend, where she's telling everybody what happened between her and Jay. Apparently, she went and sent Jay, I'll say it's a breakup video, which has a picture of a stove. Apparently, she was recording a stove and terminating her attorney-client relationship with him. And she claims he didn't listen to that. And he falsely represented her all this time since. So she claimed, like, since April or May, whenever it was, that J. Ellwanger was unofficially acting as her attorney. Interesting. So what happened with this? J. Ellwanger responded. And he said to the courts, hey, I have proof that I have always been her attorney, that I was not fired, that this did not take place, that I'm not in the wrong. And he said, I want an ex parte hearing on this, which means as quick as possible. I want an ex parte hearing on this so I can show you, the judge, the proof that I have that shows that Ashley has been my client, and that I'm the one who wants out of the relationship. Like, he also filed paperwork with the courts asking to be removed from her case. And that's what started Ashley saying in the first place, hey, I fired him months ago. Interesting, right? So we don't know what happened at the ex parte hearing as far as what documentation he had, things like that. It's not public, it's sealed. Manson's team wasn't privy to it either. They weren't allowed to be present for this on-camera hearing. What was the outcome of it? J. Ellwanger was allowed to be removed from the case. So what does that mean for Ashley? Well, that means right now she doesn't have an attorney. She has no representation, which means as of right now, she's representing herself. So another part of that ruling is that the court granted Ashley Smithline basically, there's a stay on her lawsuit. There's a stay, which means nothing can take place. No discovery can take place. Everything is basically frozen. And this time period allows her a chance to get alternate representation, to do what she needs to do. So therefore, fast forward to 60 days, she has until December 5th to tell the court if she is going to fly solo on this and represent herself, to notify them of a new representation. And if she does neither of those two by December 5th, guess what? The court reserves the right to close her case. They could just close her case. So, it's going to be really interesting to see. It's going to be one to keep an eye on. So it'll be interesting to see if she ends up representing herself, getting an attorney, or letting the case just dissolve. And by her actions with the things she's told other people about this being a hoax, and she didn't want to be involved in it in the first place, and, the comments that she's made to other people about this whole situation, the fact that she's liked comments that say that she was a victim of Evans and things like that on Instagram, it really makes you wonder, is she going to let this case go? Is she going to drop her lawsuit? I guess only time will tell. Oh yeah, one other thing that could factor into this, which some people noticed this on Instagram. A lot of people probably did not, but she got a new Instagram page, and in her stories recently, as in the day as of me talking to you right now, this was yesterday. So this was this past Saturday. Ashley posted a highly edited photo of herself, but that's not the point of this. The point is there was a GIF on her belly of this picture that said baby loading. So Ashley Smithline looks like she came out and is claiming that she's pregnant. Which, if she is, cool, happy for her, congratulations. But, you have to wonder if this is going to factor into anything. Like, mothers tend to want to be as stress-free as possible when they're pregnant. So that could be a reason why she would potentially let her case go away, let the courts close it. So it's really something to keep in mind, to keep an eye on. And as things go along, we'll keep you updated. Be sure to check our Instagram before anything, because we update that most. So the last thing to talk about, which is a very big thing to talk about, is the lawsuit that Manson filed against Evan Rachel Wood and Ashley Illma Gore, her on-again, off-again partner. He filed his lawsuit in March of 2022, and he's claiming four things. He's claiming, he's filing for intentional infliction of emotional distress, defamation per se, violation of the Comprehensive Computer Data and Access Fraud Act, and impersonation over the internet. So to talk about Marilyn Manson's lawsuit, there's multiple things to mention here. As I said, intentional infliction of emotional distress is one of the things he's suing for. And so in order to expand upon this, to give a better idea as to why he's, filing for an IAED claim, I figured the best way to explain it would be to read part of Manson's declaration that he wrote in his legal files. So I wanted to read this. So he says, I have been defamed, impersonated, hacked, and swatted by Wood and or Gore. After Wood and others' lies about me became public, the media firestorm was exasperated when Gore falsely reported that there was an emergency at my home, causing low-flying police helicopters, spotlight squad cars, and armed officers to be deployed to my home for hours on multiple occasions. I have never met or spoken to Gore. Her report of an emergency was false. Members of the press appeared to be some of the first on the scene, and this chaos was reported as somehow being connected with the false allegations against me. Photos of my house and my address were published online and in newspapers, and paparazzi and media camped outside for weeks. My wife and I were forced to move out and sell our home. After being falsely portrayed as an rapist and a person who has CP. My career as a musician and recording artist has suffered, including because I have been unable to tour and was dropped by my record label and agency. My film and television career has suffered, including because I was pulled from 2 television shows, one of which was a recurring role. My art career has suffered, including because the release of my book and art shows have been indefinitely postponed, and my paintings have been devalued. I have received countless death threats online. I have been excluded from countless social media or from countless social and business gatherings, and I have constantly felt anxious, distraught, depressed, worried, frantic, sleepless, and fearful for my and my wife's physical safety. So there you have it. That's the basic main reason why he's filing for intentional infliction of emotional distress, because he has been through it. Now, as far as the defamation claim, well, it looks as though there's a chance that can be thrown out of court. And what do I mean by that? Well, the next thing we have coming up is what's called an anti-SLAPP hearing. And that is taking place on December 1st, so not long from now. And basically, that's a hearing where Evan Rachel Wood and Illma Gore are requesting for parts of Marilyn Manson's lawsuit to be tossed out. Basically to say that this has no merit, this isn't something that should be brought up in a lawsuit because it's protected by free speech. So that hearing is coming up in December. Okay, so part of this is Manson had asked, for this anti-SLAPP hearing to be best prepared, to be able to get depositions of several different people in order to make the strongest case for himself, for his lawsuit in its entirety to go forward in the court system. There was a hearing on that, and essentially Manson didn't fare too well with that hearing, but he was granted the ability to depose Ashley Illma Gore. This is only in connection with claims that she has made, things that she has said about the film Groupie, to know what her headspace was and what her thought process was when she was making those claims. And her deposition is required to be completed on or by October 27th. So if it hasn't been done yet, it's going to be very, very soon. Okay, you might be wondering, what do I mean by this? What exactly was it that Illma Gore said about a homemade film that Manson made in 1996 called Groupie? Why should she be asked questions about that film? What did she say? Well, in Manson's lawsuit, he talks about that, and I'd like to read a section so that way you have an understanding as to what Illma Gore is going to have to answer to. All right, so this is on page 17 of Manson's lawsuit, section F. Gore slanders Warner. It says, between 2019 and 2021, as part of her multi-pronged attack on Warner, Gore had multiple conversations with prospective accusers, in which she claimed that a 1996 short film made by Warner called Groupie depicted child AB use and child CP. During one such conversation in 2021, Gore said that the actress in Groupie was a minor at the time of the shoot and was unalived, and that if the video were to be seen, Warner would be indicted. Gore's statements about Warner and Groupie are demonstrably false. Gore knew they were false or acted with reckless disregard of their falsity. The actress, whose name is Paula, was 22 years old at the time the film was made. She has publicly stated that she was not a minor, was involved in conceptualizing the plot of this film, and was acting and hamming it up. Clips from Groupie were featured in a 1998 tour documentary called Dead to the World. Paula was not only thanked in the credits for that film, but also went on to star in music videos, including Manson's Long Hard Road Out of Hell in 1997 and Garbage's Push It in 1998. The director of Groupie and Dead to the World, Joseph Coltis, has publicly stated that Gore's claims are all fake. It goes on to say, still, promulgating these and other falsehoods was part of Gore's scheme to orchestrate and amplify false accusations against Warner, thereby bolstering Wood's claim that Warner had been her and others' abuser. This, in turn, would bring further attention to the Phoenix Act, the Associated Film Project, and curry favor with Wood and potential and existing accusers against Warner. Indeed, Gore's defamatory allegations regarding Groupie have been repeated in at least one civil complaint filed against Warner, and consequently have reverberated through the press. This is entirely unsurprising, given that Gore discussed these false allegations with prospective accusers. Wood condoned and encouraged Gore to promulgate defamatory falsehoods about Warner in order to further their conspiracy. I should leave my phone there. It gives more light on my face. But it's kind of spooky, like Halloween themed. Ooh. Sorry. It's getting dark outside. I didn't turn my light on yet, so this is what you get. But, yeah, so there you go. So, that's what's going on. Manson's big lawsuit he filed in March of 2022. Very big things in this, including a false FBI letter. They put out checklists for prospective accusers to fill out to say, yeah, he did this to me, he did that to me, that kind of thing. You know, there's a photo Manson has of scripts between the accusers where they were writing down their ideas and their thoughts on a whiteboard. This is, you know, this is some big shit, basically. And, you know, I guess we're going to see what happens with Manson's lawsuit, because this anti-SLAPP hearing is coming up December 1st, like I said. Hopefully the judge lets everything stay in and he gets to, you know, have his chance in court to plead his case and let a jury decide. But we got to remember there's always a chance that a judge could toss parts of his lawsuit out, regardless of whether or not all of it goes through or only parts of it goes through. Manson is still going to have his time in court. He's still going to have, there's still going to be a trial. There's still going to be a jury. It's just, it's up in the air right now as to what all a jury is going to decide upon. So, I mean, that's basically it. We updated on Esme Bianco's case, which, like I said, that one is more just about the depositions of Ashley Walters and Ashley Smithline. Those two seem to try to hide from, you know, giving a deposition from any possible legal involvement, but they can't. You know, they really can't. But so we talked about that. We talked about Jane Doe a little bit. We talked about Ashley Walters, her individual case going to appeal. And we talked about Ashley Smithline and the huge craziness that's going on with her case. And I would say it with Esme Bianco's case too, because a lot of it ties into Esme Bianco's case with the deposition and things like that. And most importantly, above all, we talked about Marilyn Manson's lawsuit. Now, I could have went into a little bit more detail talking about this fake FBI letter and things, but I will post pictures of the FBI letter and things like that into this video, so you'll have a better look at it. And of course, if you want to read his lawsuit in its entirety, you can go to his Instagram page, and there's a link to click on to go to his lawsuit to read it. And I believe it's 28 pages. It's very important to read. I mean, it really shows that this has been a huge hoax set up against Marilyn Manson, concocted by Evan Rachel Wood and Ashley Illma Gore. So with that said, we'll keep everybody up to date with what's going on. Check for any updates on our Instagram. Check and follow the Manson cases. Stand with Marilyn Manson. Stand by your Manson. Those are really good resources. And we will all do our best to keep you up to date as things progress. All right. Thank you very much. And bye.